Men's heads slope and women's are flat. The face is bigger and you can't change that. Women's eyes are close and the dental arch is small. And Victoria's models have no hips at all. Ryan Reynolds looks like Ryan Gosling. And David Beckham too, cause they're not men. David went and borrowed Bush Spice too. They're the Spice Boys and they fooled you. Your presidents have never been men. It's first ladies, take a look at them. Big blockheads and shovels for hands. Clothes don't fit and the way they stand. And don't forget about jacking ass. If you don't believe the things I've said, then go and watch Jungle Surfer TV instead. And ever since the day that I was born, you've sexualised me and you've normalised porn. Where a man is a woman and a woman is a man, and they sodomise everything they can.
People's Republic of China, a fourth of the world's population, incidentally, and the head of the whole intelligence system. So there's no question about that. There's nothing wrong with having a president who knows something about something, incidentally. Though I'd never worked in this field, well, I did once in Washington a little bit, but I thought I would push teaching Jane and John to read. I think that is one of the great lacks in our country. We're cheating our children, and I decided that there are very many good programs out there. Reading is fundamental. There are a lot of good ones, and that I could take a page from every First Lady's book.
Maybe no way to explain it, but I think we should contain it before it is too late. I found a thing under the pile of clothes in your room. What is that thing? We may never identify it.
Here are the top 5 reasons that Michelle Obama is actually a tranny in disguise. Number 5. She looks like a man. Michelle Obama has been noted by many people to seem to have a masculine body. Some common talking points include her arms and neck muscles are far too muscular for a female, Her body proportions and head-to-shoulder ratio fit those of a man rather than a woman, and so too do her respective finger lengths. These are all reasonably accurate ways of identifying someone's gender.
Several different ab movements to challenge the abs in different planes, so it's real important to add symmetrical strength by using different planes.
Number 4. Joan Rivers' suspicious death. Joan Rivers was a comedian who joked about Michelle being a quote-unquote tranny during a live interview. A couple of months later, she went into the hospital for a minor throat procedure and came back dead, presumably from a lack of oxygen. This hasn't stopped people from theorizing that there was foul play involved and that Michelle and President Obama had her murdered in order to suppress the idea of Michelle being a man from the mainstream.
No, Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Number 3. She has a bulge. On the Ellen DeGeneres show, Michelle Obama appeared one time to dance Uptown Funk. Unfortunately for her, she chose to wear some tight white pants, and some viewers noticed something rather unsettling. People soon unearthed other photos with Michelle and her alleged bulge, and though her supporters claim there were folds in the fabric, one cannot deny that a trend of these photos does certainly exist.
Right there again. There you go, look at that. Wait a minute. Your cup ain't tight, Michelle.
Number 2. Lack of evidence of pregnancy and birth. Though there are photos of Barack Obama holding a newborn girl, there has been no photographic evidence of Michelle Obama's pregnancy or of her being at the birth at all. Michelle also has not produced any birth certificate under her female name, and some alleged photographs of her as a child do exist, though the resemblance is certainly questionable. And number 1. Obama is gay. There have been numerous accusations against Barack Obama that he is a homosexual, and that Michelle really is a man called Michael Robinson. Among others, the most notable accuser has come from a Colorado man called Larry Sinclair, who claims that he had had numerous drugged-up gay sexual encounters with Obama, then a senator, in 1999. As well as this, there is a further accusation that Obama had murdered another of his gay lovers named Donald Young. And why is it that Obama has called Michelle Michael multiple times during speeches? Will we ever find out? Which of the 36 genders, if any, is this Michelle Obama? Let me know what you think in the comments. Just expect to be potentially murdered. Have a good day.
Me why I had not asked Senator Obama to disclose the sexual encounters I had with Mr. Obama in 1999. I was shocked as I had never mentioned to the campaign or anyone working for the campaign any sexual encounters, as my call was prompted by drug allegations only.
Most of all, Admiral Mullen, Deborah, Michael and I also want to acknowledge your son Jack, who's deployed
your story. Baby, open up to me. Don't give up so easily. Open up your eyes and see they're yours to our story. Don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me hanging on. Baby, open up to me. Don't give up so easily. Don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me hanging on.
Today, let's take a look at Metallica drummer Lars Ulrich. Now, the first thing we observe is that his wife is about a foot taller than he is. Now, that's normal in the entertainment industry, but very rare in the real world. And you'll notice a large Adam's apple protruding from the neck of the alleged wife, with a very strong jawline, prominent cheekbones, and brow bone, evidence of plastic surgery, and basically a face more masculine than most guys, with a larger Adam's apple than most guys, and a larger mouth. The only difference between that person and a normal man is that it's wearing a dress and makeup. Now, maybe that's a Budweiser spokesperson. What do you think that is, a man or a woman, or something in between? Lars Ulrich, of course, possibly one of the most wealthy musicians in the world, living the dream in Babylon. He's at the top of the Babylonian food chain. He's got the androgyne wife. Now, there's Lars as a young child. Is that a boy or a girl? I'm not sure. You know what I mean? His father was a famous tennis player. Kind of looks more like a girl to me, but maybe it's just a girly-looking boy. Don't want to jump to conclusions. What do you think? Now, there he is when he's almost 40 years old right there. All right? I mean, have you ever seen a 40-year-old man looking like that? And the transvestite is basically the new creation. They're divine. They're not human anymore. They've transcended humanity. They're the channel to the gods. He's in touch with the ethereal realm. So there it is, just an example. Don't mean to pick on little Lars there. Very successful person in this world. Very wealthy. And he's in one of the biggest bands in the world. They went down to the crossroads. Yeah, so, you know, it's just the way it is. The rock stars, actors, politicians, CEOs, the ruling class, the elite. And they always have a larger Adam's apple than the husband. And the wives always have a larger penis than the husband as well. Eventually, you got to connect the dots and maybe start to figure out what's going on.
Okay. Before our sex scene, I took 2 Pepto-Bismol.
During our sex scene, I felt your dick rubbing into me.
Okay.
And that is Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt playing on insults. That was the darkest one yet. Thanks, guys. By far.
Oh. you know, sweetheart, one day you should settle down and marry a rich man. And I said, Mom, I am a rich man.
Oh, got on board a westbound 747. Didn't think before deciding what to do. All the talk about those TV breaks and movies rang true. All that sure rang true.
even though it's not political, putting 1,000 drag queens out into the street of New York once a year is kind of like sticking a thermometer up Manhattan's butt.
We're here! We're queer! We're queer!
Let's see how we're accepted. Let's see how it works.
We march today! We march today! Together! Together!
I kind of find it to be like a rebellious action. A radical action.
We're changing the world! We're changing the world!
The forces that put the drag march into motion were these people who asked us to assimilate. We're the anti-assimilation march. If we assimilate, they're still going to hate us. And so we just need to lead.
To me, it kind of feels like a ritual. It's my favorite event of the year.
Pride is a concept that has been hard fought and won in the LGBTQ plus community. That's why Pride Month.
God is a lesbian, she is a lesbian, God is a dyke. Send her Victoria, Mary and Gloria, she'll lick it on the floor with ya, God is a dyke.
O God of pronouns, we give praise to the Great One, the one who is identifiable as God. I am what I am, you say, the great they, the incarnate he and she, the God of trans being, impregnating Mary, fathering God, breastfeeding God of many breasts. You shatter all stereotypes, making every single person male and female, intersex, non-binary in your image, exactly in your image. Spectrum, rainbow God, who put your promise for nonviolence in the symbol for queer love before humanity knew, because you knew. Who had Joseph, who could not sleep with a woman in a beautiful lady's cloak, perhaps of rainbow colors, before we knew, you knew. God of pronouns, who said, you can call me he or she or they, whatever makes you feel closest to me. Invisible and visible God, on this day, where visibility and celebration, belatedness, affirmation, and acceptance is the bare minimum. Remind us that you are the God of pronouns, so you affirm and you celebrate them. God of Saul, Paul, Simon, Isaac, Jacob, Isaac, Simon, Peter, Abram and Sarai, and Abraham and Sarah. God of Joseph, of the coat of many colors, of the Ethiopian eunuch, of the Virgin Mary, God of all found families in the Bible. Remind us that you affirm us in our full identity, name, pronoun, found family, all of it. For this, we give you thanks and praise to the great I am, the great they, them.
I'm here today because I'm sitting there in my house
seeking God for a word, and I started out, I'll be honest with you, I started out studying propitiation, and I was looking at propitiation, and I was looking, and then I was actually Google searching for some information that I'd used years ago about when the space shuttles came back into the atmosphere, the friction was strong enough to burn up the planes, but because they had what was called a propitiator, it took the heat away from the astronauts and allowed the astronauts to enter into the atmosphere without burning up, because the propitiator absorbed the heat. So when the Bible says that Christ is the propitiation of our sins, we then begin to understand that he took the heat that should have killed us. So that I was looking at that. And so when I started looking at that, I started thinking about coverings. And when I started thinking about coverings, I started thinking about clothing. And when I started thinking about clothing, I began to recognize that at its core, Paul is telling us that God is a dressmaker. Forgive the feminine usage. Normally when we think of dressmakers, we think of women. They don't have to be, but we normally think of women. But if we use that inference, God is not insulted, because after all, he is our Father, but he is also the breasted one. He is our Father, but he is also the breasted one. He is our Father, but he is also the breasted one. He does not leave the woman out in describing his likeness. The woman is just as much in his likeness and in his image as the man is.
One of the names of God in the Old Testament was El Shaddai, the all-breasty one, the all-breasty one, the all-breasty one, the God of more than enough.
The world is in the condition that it is in because of the disrespect of the woman. There's so much that we place around her because, as we are also taught, that when you teach a man, you are teaching an individual. When you teach a woman, you are teaching a nation. Every prophet came from the womb of a woman. Every intelligent, strong, powerful man and woman came from the womb of a woman. So that's why they have to attack mother and remove father, because before you can get to her, you have to get through him. Every wise nation has security, and the man is supposed to be that security because of her value, because a whole nation comes out of her. So you must be protected, and the man having that essential position by nature. So someone who knows that about you will do their best to make sure you are removed, because there is a standard of conditioning that has to take place. Man, woman, child. If I want to get to that, I have to remove your protector, because he is watching to make sure that everything that goes on in this environment is safe and secure. That's why they have to attack masculinity, because they know, damn, if there's real men around here, we can't really do what we want to do. And if there are real women, we for damn sure can't do what we want to do, because she's going to protect that child, he's going to protect that woman, and they both are going to protect society.
What's up, guys? It's me, Kareem Jovian. I'm here in New York City. Today, we're going to ask, what is a woman? What is a woman?
Oh, that's such a deep question. I don't know how to answer that.
What is a woman?
In this particular case, the only definition that matters is somebody who is pregnant and has, and that's the only definition.
What is a woman? Can you define that?
I mean, I guess a woman is now there's a lot of gender fluidity. And so a woman is anybody that either defines as a woman, or in the terms of biology, a female person that can carry a baby. But a woman is anybody who defines as a woman.
Yeah. What is a woman in your point of view?
Beautiful. Dynamic, beautiful, complicated, and like hopefully autonomous over her body and her decisions. She's awesome. As woman is awesome. Yeah.
Double that. Let's double that.
All right. What is your definition of a woman?
My definition of a woman? My definition of a woman is anyone who defines themselves as a woman I think if you're a trans person and you haven't got surgery or you didn't want to go that route and you still want to be, call yourself a woman, I think that's it's up to you. Yeah.
What is your definition of a woman?
Whoever feels as though she is one. Yeah.
What is your definition of a woman?
Woman, oh my gosh, just like power, beauty, grace, everything. I think women were often overlooked and kind of like the fact, just we bear everything on our shoulders and kind of often don't get enough credit for it. So yeah, women are just embodiments of strength.
What is a woman? Definition of a woman.
Oh my god. That's hard.
I don't know. It's
yeah, because it's more than just like the physique.
Yeah.
I think it's beyond that. It's like all the mindset. So yeah, because there's trans and non-binary and everything.
Type of mindset. What is the definition of a woman?
Of a woman?
In your point of view.
I guess everything. Femininity, womanhood, masculinity at the same time. Like, it's a lot of things at once.
Women are only who are able to give birth. What do you think about that?
Well, no, because there are people that identify as like a woman, right? I mean, it's hard. It's a hard question because I myself will never understand. Because, like, I was born a female and I use she, her pronouns, and I'm still learning about it.
What is your definition of a woman?
Of a woman?
Yes.
My definition of a woman, a powerful source of wisdom and energy.
What is your definition of a woman?
Of a woman?
Yeah.
Anyone that identifies as a female?
The Jezebel spirit is self-centered, and it demands to be the center of attention. It's almost impossible for a person ruled by the spirit to take a back seat. So you'll find that some of their characteristics are that they are calculated, domineering, and pushy. And they'll stick to using flattery as a means to an end.
Now, chances are, sooner or later, we will all encounter opposition in this life known as the Jezebel spirit. And people always hear Jezebel and automatically think it's a spirit of sexual immorality. But that's only part of it. There's more to this dark spirit than just that. It's a spirit which can be found in both men and women. And it comes in the form of manipulation, an attitude that seeks to control by any means, including seduction. It's a spirit that craves control. It craves influence. Now, chances are you've probably already heard of the Jezebel spirit before. But let me show you how serious this spirit is. Revelation 2:20 gives a clear picture that this is a dangerous spirit that leads astray even the best of servants. The Bible says her teaching, she misleads my servants into sexual immorality. It's a seeks to destroy spirit. It seeks to mislead and corrupt the church. It seeks to neutralize the life of a believer. It seeks to oppose authority figures.
We are here to say, as women, we're not taking it anymore. I am speaking today, not just for the Me Too's, because I was a Me Too, but when I raise my hand, I am aware of all the women who are still in silence. Our body, our race,
We want our government to pass this DACA bill.
We're still marching, we're still protesting, but now we have to also organize.
This is what a feminist looks like. Show me what a feminist looks like.
Adam was not deceived. It was Eve that fell. Eve was deceived, and Adam followed her because he loved her. The second Adam, who is Jesus, was he deceived? He came willingly because he loved his Eve, the church. The same pattern, you see. So Adam was not deceived. It was Eve that was deceived. No, it doesn't. Listen. This, I already know. I know what is in your heart. And okay, let me show you. 1 Timothy 2 and verse 14. If you think and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Women fall because of deception. Men fall because of love. So next time you say you are falling in love, ask yourself, must you fall? The in love is not the issue. It's the fact that must you...
I'm a gangster too, it takes me to tango. You don't wanna mess with me, baby, I'm a gangster too. Baby, I'm a gangster too. Baby, I'm a gangster.
できましたね。なんかすごい素敵な気分です。綺麗な色です。最高です。そして街並みもとっても綺麗な。幸せたっぷり。させていただきました。神様に感謝ばっかりです。そして家族にもとても感謝させていただきました。神様に感謝ばっかり。
It's strange to think about today, but there was a time in the United States when women just didn't wear pants. In many cultures, women wearing some kind of trouser is an ancient phenomenon. But in the United States, there was a time when women were expected to limit their options to skirts and dresses, especially out in public. So when and how did this change? When did women start wearing pants? It's hard to imagine Rosie the Riveter wearing a skirt below that famous raised bicep. After the war, many women continued to wear pants, but women's fashion still tended to focus on skirts and dresses. But more than a century after women's rights activists had first begun their push to reform how women dress, the women's liberation movement of the 1960s and 1970s finally helped to break down the stigma against women wearing pants. Today in the US, the question of whether women can wear pants in public isn't a question at all, which means we're free to move on to the next frontier of gendered fashion, making it socially acceptable for men to wear dresses. Fair's fair, right?
Hi. Today we're talking about hats, or more specifically, why we stopped wearing hats. Hats were a part of the Western fashion since the beginning of time. Some of them were purely practical, protecting your head from the cold or from the heat. Some of them were demanded by social or religious customs. And some of them were just elegant pieces to show off your fashion sense. But somewhere along the 20th century, we lost them. We lost hats. What happened? 20th century was in many ways revolutionary when it comes to fashion history. It was the century clothing transformed from being handcrafted, meticulously produced, multi-layered, elegant pieces to mass-produced, simplified, minimalistic garments. So much has changed during this 100 years. In comparison, if we look at fashion from 1601 and 1699, it went from ornamented, heavy, structured dresses to some other ornamented, heavy, structured dresses. In 20th century, we went from handmade lace tea gown worn over a corset, a pair of drawers and petticoats, to Kate Moss's black mini dresses. We dropped so many items of clothing over time, one of them being hats. The hot revolution, 1960s saw another huge fashion revolution, which basically brought us the fashion as we know it today. Full of different styles and trends, allowing more individuality. It was also the first decade in a long time where hat makers began to really struggle. While French designers couldn't really agree on where to go next with the fashionable silhouette, the Brits used that moment to completely turn fashion around. With the Beatlemania around the corner, it turned out that fashion doesn't have to address only grown-ups, and that teens also make a very good marketing target. 1960s was the decade when fashion shifted from being designed for stately grown-up matrons to celebrating youth. And this was a final blow to centuries-old hat-wearing custom. Hats were always considered an elegant and refined grown-up accessory, so they weren't a really good match to colorful miniskirts and patent leather go-go boots, or men's colorful shirts and bell-bottom jeans. Hats.
If you want to take over a planet, okay, if you want to completely take over a planet, the first thing that you have to do is you have to take out the alpha males or the strong males from the planet. Because the strong alpha males protect the divine feminine. Through television and films, how they are feminizing men more and more and more. You'll see women dressed up, men dressed up in female clothes. The cane is a phallus, or male energy. The two circles on either side are to control the male energy. This is not to empower the female in any way. This is a trick to make it look like that it's empowering the female, when in fact it is taking away the protection from the female. The feminism movement that happened in the 60s was to destroy the family unit from the inside out.
The visitors are not our friends. They've come to rape our planet and kill us. They are not who they appear to be.
Reptilians and examples of reptilians in Hollywood, so you need to watch this and let me know your thoughts.
Katy Perry blinking sideways, and you'll notice they always cover up when their eyes do that with a very quick blink, jerk of the head, something like that. That one's really creepy. Angelina Jolie, I slow it down for you so you can get really in there to see it, and she blinks like 5 times to cover it up. There's Rihanna. Hers is really interesting. The eye collar even changes. And this is Miley Cyrus. And these are so fast, Taylor Swift, that why would they try to change that with film? It happens so quick that why would somebody go back and edit this? This is a German talk show host. That one is very extreme, very prominent, and it was done live. If you'd like, I'll do a round 2 and show you some.
Mr. Gregan, bring her to me. Yes, my lord.
After I started researching the cult, I learned that Satanists believe that they have to reveal who they are in some way, shape, or form. So that is why we see a lot of these occult members in Hollywood constantly flaunting symbolism. We see the pyramid, the Illuminati pyramid a lot. We see the evil one eye constantly. It's always on the cover of magazines. We see these are supposed to be the 666 devil symbols. We constantly see those symbols. We also see pedophile symbols, the swirl or the triangle within a triangle.
I guarantee this wasn't his first.
And we also see a lot of these members of the cult go on their social media and they talk about raping children. They talk about worshiping Satan. And people write it off as a joke, but they're not joking.
2022, where you can do anything a man can do. I am so excited to finally be here. You are going to love it. Feminism has done so much for women. Do tell. No more aprons, first of all. Oh, do we finally have a butler to cook for us? Oh gosh, no, you'll just eat pre-made greasy crap out of a bag on your way to and from work. I suppose that sounds convenient, so I get to work outside the home? Totally. You get to sit in a cubicle all day while you stare at a computer screen, chugging coffee. So liberating, right? I suppose. I'm at work all day. Will we finally have a Rosie the Robot maid? No, you'll still have to do all the cleaning. That's what your weekends are for, cleaning and laundry. Oh, and errands and yard work. Wait, so I have to work full time plus still manage my home full time? I mean, you want to have it all, right? Okay, but what about my husband? Is he amazing? What? No, you're not married. You live alone with your cat. What? You do date though. A lot. You can just have sex with whoever, whenever you want. That sounds kind of gross actually. Just pick them off of this app. What about pregnancy? Oh, there's this magic pill you take. Totally wrecks your hormones, but keeps you from getting pregnant so you can, you know, knock some boots. The pill is magic? Well, it's mostly effective, but don't worry. If by chance you do get pregnant, you can totally just kill the baby by having an abortion. Why would I do that? So you can get back to work, duh. Someone has to fill that cubicle space. Okay, am I at least happy? I mean, yeah, as long as you don't skip your antidepressant pill. Another magic pill. Gotta cope somehow. I think I'll just stay here. Get to have purple hair.
We came today to celebrate two things. First, the departure of the Pope, and secondly, the day we hope proves gay adoption and marriage. For us, religion is a problem. The figure of the Pope is a problem. Religious institutions are a problem. We like to see these institutions and this mentality change. There's a lot of talk about the Pope. I would really like it if we could be talking about a woman. That's where I have a crisis of faith.
I found it terrible. It's a church. It's a church. Before the church, okay, but in the church, it's terrible for me.
I think you have to be respectful of places and people. That's all I have to say.
C'est tout ce que j'ai à dire.
Paul says in the verse we've quoted, every woman praying or prophesying with her head uncovered dishonors her head. Now, when a woman prays, she's speaking to God. When a woman prophesies, she's speaking for God. So God has said, when you speak to me, or when you speak for me, I want you to have your head covered. Now you might say, God, why? I'm not sure that God is obligated to tell you why. Let me give you a little example. Every June, the Queen of England has a garden party in Buckingham Palace. And certain people are invited. It celebrates her birthday, which is not in June. That's irrelevant. Now, suppose you were invited to the Queen's tea party. And the invitation said, ladies are requested to wear hats and not to wear pantsuits. Would you say the Queen has got no right to tell me what I should wear? I don't believe anybody of you would go against that requirement. It would really be an insult to the person who invited you. Well, God says, if you pray to me or prophesy for me, I want your head covered. Are we able to tell God, God, I don't agree with that. I think it's out of date. See, there's a very, very vital issue. The real basic question is your respect for God. Or do you think God has changed his mind? This is the cultural argument. Well, culture has changed, so we don't have to do it. I don't believe that. There's no statement in 1 Corinthians about culture. It's not based on culture. It's based on God's requirements. I say, let God be God. I don't want to appear, what would I say, one-sided, but I think it's a much more important issue than most contemporary Christians realize. As the basic issue is our respect for God. You say, well, I don't understand. Well, maybe you don't understand why the Queen doesn't want you to wear a pantsuit. But if she doesn't, you won't do it. If you respect the Queen of England, how much more should you respect Almighty God? What Ruth says is perfectly true, is the church has changed fashions with the world. You don't have to wear a hat. Ruth doesn't wear a hat. I think she looks nice, personally. I don't think she looks silly. In fact, to tell you the truth, I think she looks nicer than a lot of women who don't have their heads covered. I am inclined to think that one of the things that will really release the blessing of God into the church is a respect for God that takes his word seriously. I'm not, uptight about this. I'm a rather relaxed person about dress. As a matter of fact, when I married Ruth, our African daughter said to Ruth, I hope you'll do something about the way my father dresses. So, it isn't a matter of I'm the old British stiff upper lip type. It's a question of how seriously do I actually take the scripture. I don't think we can say more about that, except that, well, let's say it all while we're about it. Paul says a woman's hair is her glory. Is that out of date? Is it said in a way that implies it only applied in the Roman Empire? There's no suggestion about that. So, you cut your hair, you know what you're doing? You're cutting off your glory. I'm not saying how long a hair should be, but I'm saying, bear in mind, your hair is your glory. I tell you, I'm being very frank, it costs Ruth quite a lot of labor to keep her hair long. It's more bother to wash it. It's more bother to take care of it. It takes more time and more effort. Why does she do it? Because it's her glory. And it's interesting when she goes to have her hair cut or trimmed or whatever, both in Israel and here in Fort Lauderdale, she goes to a very high-class hairdresser. In fact, the one who does our hair, and does mine too, used to be a top hairdresser for Elizabeth Arden. He does it now as a favor to us. He's formed a relationship with us. And each of them, when they look at Ruth, they say, thank God for a woman that isn't a carbon copy of every other woman.